Welcome in. Today we have a really special collab. I am here with Alchemistic Anomalous, and she is also another manifestation coach. We are going to just be talking, going back and forth about our experiences, our lessons, our success stories, all of those great things. I am Olivia Grace. This is the Master Manifestors channel. I talk about law of assumption, manifestation, all of that good stuff. So definitely come on in and sit in if you are interested in that topic. And you can go ahead, Alchemistic, and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olivia. So I have been in the manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption field for over 20 years, actually. And previously, a few years ago, I used to be a tarot reader, but I would segue people from tarot over to coaching and tell them that they don't actually need these things. So recently, I decided to just cut out the middleman and just go straight into talking about manifestation, law of assumption, and spiritual topics. So that's what my channel is about.
Awesome. That is so cool. Well, I'm really excited. I know everybody here um, knows a lot about my personal journey and manifestation, but let's kind of talk about ours and yours, Alchemistic. I'd love to hear about your own journey. What got you into manifestation? How that evolved you from there to now?
Yeah, so where it started for me was many, many years ago.
Mm.
I was actually in my teens, and I believe I told you this, Olivia, and I actually have a video on this as well. I just posted it where I talked about going from homeless to six figures. And basically, my entire childhood was, for lack of better terms, very traumatic.
Mm.
I grew up in severe poverty. I grew up in a very traumatic experience and left home when I was 16.
Mm.
So I found myself homeless. I discovered The Secret, right? We read the book, we saw the movie, but I didn't really understand because they didn't talk about my type of situation in that, right? I didn't understand, like, how could this apply to me? So I went about it in my own way and said, you know what? No matter what, I am taken care of. No matter what, this is going to happen for me. And then that actually did happen. And so then I discovered, okay, so it is different than this, right? And I just kept with that. But I didn't actually discover, say, the law of assumption, Neville Goddard, etc., until about 5 years ago. We want to say in 2019, after a quote unquote twin flame situation, right? And we know that a twin flame situation is just an SP. It's just we obsess over them. That's all. So it's been since then that I've been more into the law of assumption and more of Neville Goddard's type teachings.
Mm.
So what about you, Olivia?
That's so awesome. I love that. And I just want to take some time and just acknowledge and congratulate you on being able to pull yourself out of that. I know that a few people on this channel are going through experiences of poverty in their own lives, some in homelessness, and just let this be proof that you can. It doesn't matter where you come from, you guys, where you start from, especially with this information. You guys, you have like, I feel like this information is so much. Even if I feel like in poverty, if someone was to hand you a bag of money or hand you this information, you do better with the information than the bag of money. So that's incredible. I didn't know that about you, Alchemistic. I didn't know that you came from all of that. And I low key want to hear more about that, but I'll briefly touch on my story first. So for me, um, I was introduced to the law of attraction. It was about maybe like 2015, I think, like end of 2014 and 2015, and I immediately was obsessed with it. I always had the urge to want to help people, and it was like I didn't really know how I was going to do counseling. I was going to do, all of like be a teacher, right? And I kind of became a combination of the both of the two. Um, but when I found out about the law of attraction, I was like, oh my God, this is a way that everyone can prosper. This is something that's free. It's not like, oh, were you born into this family? Do you have this money? It's free information that everyone can use to help themselves. And so from there, it just opened me into a whole new world. I'm definitely a whole new Olivia than I was before. I was previously really truly, you guys, my self-concept, what I believed about myself was that I was mediocre, and that's what I felt about my future. I was like, I'm mediocre, I'm going to be mediocre, my life's going to be mediocre. Like, I just, that was what I felt. And it was when I learned about manifestation, it opened me up into um a world of magic, really, and wonder and awe. Just being on the planet was like, I remember realizing, wow, you actually, if you pay attention, can watch the seasons change, seeing the tip of a yellow on a leaf turning into fall, all of these things that we wouldn't see, before, all of these things that I wasn't paying attention to, seeing the moon in the sky during the day. It was like the world just became magical for me. So now, with that, I was able to manifest a lot, but I was still like a lot of some of you guys don't know. I grew up not impoverished, right? I grew up pretty well off, like definitely not rich, but well taken care of. My dad took great care of us. But when we got older, when I was an adult in my 20s, my dad got sick, and so that foundation of security just wasn't there anymore. And it was the first time in my life that I saw my parents struggle, and I didn't have my parents to rely on. And that was when I started to experience poverty. It was in my adult life and experience um, just not having what I need, like at all, never, and living on the bare minimum. And that shifted for me just recently, really. I kind of went in and out, but the law of assumption, I learned about that. That was, I believe, 2021 was when I learned about the law of assumption and the God state and being God of my reality. And that shifted my consciousness a lot. But still, for a while, I found myself creating within a struggle reality. Basically, I was basically creating from survival, and it took me up until maybe like a few months ago to get from creating from survival to actually creating bigger and better things. So that's like a little bit of a nutshell of my story. I'm curious for you, Alchemistic, what do you feel like was some of the top understandings that allowed you to pull yourself from poverty and into six figures? That's amazing.
So there's one thing that I just remembered that I forgot to mention, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Sometimes we rewrite our stories so much that we forget where we came from,
Mm-hmm.
and we forget the journey that we actually went on. And it's kind of like yesterday, I was emailing with you and I was like, okay, we're going live. Thought it was already Thursday
Mm-hmm.
because I'm already living in that to
Mm-hmm.
where I forget what day it is. Um, so what actually happened is, and I have a video on this as well of talking about like ego deaths and death experiences and things like that, is I actually died when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And so I connected with what we know now as the I am. And so from that, it opened my eyes because I was raised Southern Baptist, Bible Belt, right?
Yeah.
I was raised Southern Baptist. And after that experience, I really read the Bible and I saw it in a different way than what was being preached.
Mm-hmm.
And now, discovering Neville Goddard 5 years ago, I realized I was interpreting it similar to how he is and didn't even realize it. So I think that kind of segued me into when The Secret came out, and I was probably, I don't know, 15, 16, right? When that came out, and I read it, and then it was like, yes, but this was my experience. So how does it, you know what I mean? It was kind of a disconnect with the
Right.
law of attraction. And so that's why when I was homeless, I was sleeping in a car. Car was not even running. And I was going restaurant to restaurant, offering to clean just for a plate of food. And I said, no matter what, I'm taken care of. No matter what, I
Mhm.
have shelter, right? There's people without shelter. There's people sleeping on park benches. There's people without food. So I have food, I have shelter, right? I was thankful for those things. And one day I went to a German restaurant and offered what I offer, right? And the guy said, actually, where are you staying right now? And I said, in my car. He said, "Where is your car? Because didn't you walk here?" I said, "It's not running." And he said, "Okay, can you do waitressing? Can you do bartending?" I said, "Sure, whatever you want me to do." And so he hired me, but also there was a studio apartment inside of his restaurant in the back.
Mm.
He said, "You can stay in the apartment. I'll take $200 out of your check every month. You start Monday."
Wow. That's
So, and this was
incredible.
on a Saturday. So 2 days. All I had to wait.
Wow.
And I worked for him for 2 to 3 months. He was definitely meant to be in my life. And he ended up with a health illness and wanted to go back to Germany. But the time that I spent with him helped me to build up money to get my own place. So I
Mhm.
was still protected. I was still okay,
Yeah.
even after that. And after that, I started working for myself. This was, a few years after that. And I started making figures back when it was unheard of to do that from home.
Mm.
And it was all in the knowing that this is what I can do. Even though, I was 18, 19 at the time, people were like, "Oh, you're too young. You can't do that. You
Wow.
came from this. You'll never be anything." Right? It didn't matter. It was all noise. Right? It's so for me, it was just the inner knowing. And that's what we all know. As long as you stay in the inner knowing that this is my path, this is what will happen, that's what will happen every single time.
Yes. Wow. That is so powerful. That's so powerful. Um, Gosh, just hearing your story, it really brings tears to my eyes, Alchemistic. And I'm so glad that you're here today because I know how many people are going through real life situations. It's not just about, I want a boyfriend for them. It's like, I need a roof over my head. You know what I mean? And a lot of times in this, I feel like in the law of assumption and manifestation community, it's like, how do we bring that? How do we bridge that? For some of us, it's not about that, right? For some of us, we do need help. And for a lot of people, I feel like they can feel trapped in that circumstance. And I just want to highlight that Alchemistic was and deciding, trusting and deciding continuously that it's done no matter what for me, no matter what. That's a really good um addition. I believe Lyric even said that too on her on maybe it was Sheila. One of the other girls I went live with said that too. Add no matter what because the knowing state, you guys, is that exactly. It is no matter what, right? We think that it's as long as, right? That's conditioning it. As long as this happens, as long as I'm perfect, as long as I affirm, as long as whatever. But no, it's no matter what. And that is just so extremely inspiring, Alchemistic. So inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad that you came on. And you guys also, side note, Alchemistic's links are all in the description. And she emailed me and asked me to collab. And, a few people asked me to collab, but I have to really resonate with what the person is speaking about and where they're coming from to invite them on. Because, of course, if I'm having anybody on, it's a reflection of my own beliefs as well. And Alchemistic's videos are just so amazing. They're so her vibe, her voice immediately grabbed my attention and just felt really expansive and magical to me. So go check her out. And let's see here. I want you to talk more about your channel, actually, if you would like to, Alchemistic, and more about your approach with manifesting. I know you said that you used to do tarot and things like that, and you kind of moved away from that. So, do you want to tell us more about it?
Yeah, so I have a video on, I believe it's the video that talks about like twin flame soulmates and SPs, that they're all the same thing, right?
Mhm,
I talked about this is that in 2019, I had a twin flame situation,
mhm,
right? And that, showed me that you could easily go back into an old self,
mhm,
easily, right? And I, I went from that to obsessing over this person, obsessing over, you know, oh, I need to be with this person. And that's prevalent in the SP community as well,
Mhm.
right? Right. It's the same things. Everything that they talk about, the twin flame signs, is the same thing with SP signs, right? And so then I was introduced to, oh, law of assumption and manifestation isn't just getting a place to stay, isn't just getting money, isn't just getting career. It's this as well. And I ended up with a coach that labeled herself as a twin flame coach, but really she was an SP coach,
Mm.
right? And she taught the same things that everybody in the SP community does. Take them off the pedestal, put yourself there, like build yourself up. It was like a complete self-concept overhaul, right? I went from obsessing over this man for 6 months, being in extreme pain, going into thousands and thousands of dollars in debt from paying for readings and healings and courses and all these things that I didn't need, right? And she showed me that. She's no longer a coach, or I would say her name, right? Her name was Lauren, but I forgot her last name. But she she said that you don't need all these things. You are it. He is you just as everyone is you. And that's when it clicked for me. And I completely changed my life around. And I went from, gosh, it was like 30K in debt. And it wasn't just from that, it was from other things as well. But $30,000 in debt to $30,000 positive in my account within 6 months after that.
Mm.
I completely overhauled everything. And that person came back, but I no longer wanted him.
Mm.
I was like, no, I'm good. I no longer want this. Right. And since then, I got into tarot, and then I was like, okay, I don't want people to do what I did. I don't want them to obsess over these tools, over these readings, over these healings, like, because they're perfect as they are. Right. So I would do these readings and bring them in and say, you don't even need this. Why are you coming to me? Right. And I would segue it into coaching on basically self concept
Mm.
and building them up and teaching them how to manifest the partner of their dreams if that's what they want or whatever they want, right? That was in 2020 when I started. This whole channel was based off of twin flame coaching, tarot readings, what have you. And I did it for a couple of years. And then I said, you know what? I no longer resonate with this because even though I was doing what I was doing, I was still bringing in people that were very new to their journey and they were still obsessing.
Mm.
I'm like, this is not the type of clients I want. I want the ones that are ready. Right. And so I stopped it. I went back to my regular career because I can easily go back to a corporate job making 6 figures. It's no problem. I know a lot of people have asked on the chat about the mask because I don't want you to concentrate on who I am as a person, the identity that I am in this vessel. I want you to concentrate on the message that I'm giving you. That's why I wear the mask. That's why I don't say my real name. Olivia knows my real name, but that's why I do this. It's so that you can concentrate on what I'm saying, not who is she, what is she, all this stuff. It doesn't matter because I'm you. So yeah, I went from that to corporate job, and I was at the corporate job for 2 years, and it was not fulfilling me. I was like, it's back to this. So literally during the summer, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I stopped. Everybody thought I was crazy. I cashed out a bunch of investments to live on, and I started this. And I just started my coaching services a month ago, and I get bookings every week.
I love that.
I've gotten bookings within the first week.
Yes.
And people are like, you don't even get that many views. The views don't matter. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
The view numbers don't matter because I have a client now that's another manifestation coach, and I'm gonna, of course, gonna keep their name private. But they have a lot more following than I do, a lot more views, and they tell me I hardly get bookings. It's like, what are you telling yourself? is what you're telling yourself. Do the numbers matter? Because they're like, how are you getting bookings? And I showed them screenshots, like, of the bookings that I'm getting. Like, because I know no matter how many views I get, my thought is the people that come to me are ready for my message.
Mhm.
The people that are coming to me and seeing my videos resonate with them, and it's going to help them. And they're going to get my services, and then they're not going to need me again. And that's what I've been attracting.
Yes. I love that. That is incredible. I love all of that. And I want to highlight, um, I feel like the main message that I took from really everything that you just said is the circumstance doesn't matter, you guys. It's what you're telling yourself. And this is the thing, y'all. When you're in a state, it's gonna seem like the circumstance matters, okay? Like someone who, let's take the example that she's using, like a coach, and who maybe gets their clients from a channel, and their channel they feel like it's not getting enough views, right? They would look at that and say, "See, this is the problem. What can I do? I'm not getting any views. I need this many views." You don't need this many views. You need one person, right? Even if you got 50 views, you need one person to book with you. And your decision that that one person out of whatever is going to book with me is your decision to do that. You don't need massive um success or views or comments or anything. It's funny because you never know who's watching you, right? You never know who's watching you. You never know who. I know one of the times when my channel uh expanded was when High Frequency Guru reposted one of my videos, and she posted it to like her members. And of course I got a lot of subscribers from that, but I didn't know that High Frequency Guru is watching my channel. You know what I mean? You never know who's watching your channel. You never know who's amongst that crowd of 300 people, 1,000 people, right? So it's more about, what are you telling yourself, right? What are you telling yourself? Continue to tell your story, your new story, no matter what it is, no matter what it looks like. Stop giving power to what the present circumstance is, y'all. That I would say is probably the number one thing that uh gives people the experience of feeling trapped, because you're never trapped, right? But it gives people the experience because they keep looking for their new day in front of them. They keep looking for their new reality in the old one, right? They keep claiming, based off, they keep talking to themselves based off of what they're seeing instead of based off of what they're deciding, right? So, all right.
And I had a question for you. So
Yeah.
you said that it was just a few months ago that things shifted for you. And
Yeah.
the thing is, even before I started, of course, back up with me, I had been watching you and I noticed that shift in you. You went from, it was also your energy. Your energy shifted. And I want to say it was around May. Am I getting that right?
Mhm.
Where
Yep.
I felt that shift in your content because I started watching you. I want to say it was last year, but I really started watching you, say March, and then it was in May when I saw this shift, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder what shifted for her. Something is different, right? I like
Mhm.
this. This is going well for her." And I was in that assumption that it was going well for you.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of curious, what changed for you in your mindset, or was it something else that changed?
Oh, that's such a great question. Um, so it's funny because May is actually not the time that my channel physically shifted. It was the time I mentally shifted. So it's funny that you saw that. It wasn't about, oh, this is the time I saw your views go up, right? It was, I felt the energetic shift in May was when I was really deciding, you guys. I honestly, y'all, I got tired of being in the loop. I got tired of trying and giving up and trying and giving up and trying and giving up. And I decided this is who I am now. And I persisted in that decision no matter what. I made a promise to myself. And I made that promise to myself maybe last year around this time or early this year. I'm not giving up anymore. I'll take a break, right? If I need to, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue until it's done. May was when I bought that Flora's self-concept thing. And to this day, you guys, I mean, her affirmations are the affirmations that I see get me results in the moment. And since then, you guys, I've realized, as you guys have been seeing, it's not about the affirmations, it's not about what you're doing, but when you decide that whatever is needs to happen is going to happen, already happened, it will meet you where you're at. It's funny because I would see Flora on TikTok, I would see her live, and I was literally drawn to her live. Like, I would be watching a show and my TikTok was on mute, and I would see her and I was drawn to her. I was like, I want to watch her, but for a few days, you guys, I would still skip it. I would ignore that feeling, right? The intuition that's like, watch this, watch this. I would skip it. And one night, finally, I said, I keep getting this feeling is not, I'm not imagining this. I'm getting this feeling to watch this girl. I watched it. The first thing she says is, I used to be an Uber Eats driver. This is while I'm currently doing Uber Eats. That was when I was like, oh shit. This was the first time I heard somebody talk about, first time I heard someone successful with actual money talk about going from being broke, not, oh, I'm so broke and I had to sell my family jewels. If you have family jewels, you're not broke, okay? I'm so broke and I had to ask my dad for $50,000. If your dad can slide you $50,000, you're not broke, okay? No, literally from nothing to something and in a very fast amount of time. It was the first time I heard actual advice about money, about manifestation and money that made sense to me, that things shifted for me. Also, I was also just really down, kind of like right before May. I was just really down and I had finally started to focus on gratitude as well. I started because I was losing so much, you guys. Last year I lost I lost so much. And it carried into this year of me just feeling like I'm losing and I can't catch up. And I kept noticing, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. Oh my God, when am I going to get a break? That was literally the state I was living in. When am I going to get a break? Why is God beating my ass right now? Like kicking me on the floor? Why? Like, I don't know what I did. I really was like, what did I do wrong? Right. And it was me realizing, ironically, I kind of loop back to the law of attraction. There is a guy, what is his channel? Mind, Body, Spirit. You guys should look him up. And he talks about, he would share success stories. And I would go on walks and I would just listen to the success stories of people, but they were using the law of attraction. But what I noticed was that all the success stories, right? Because some people would have it where they wouldn't get what they wanted, right, at first. And instead of like, I noticed the huge difference between the law of assumption community, right? It wasn't like, oh my God, da, 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 da. It was like, you know what? I'm grateful that I still had that experience. I'm grateful that, I still believe and trust that this is happening for me. I noticed the difference of that and of the vibration and the energy of gratitude and appreciating what is, right? And I started to just appreciate what I had. I started to just appreciate what I had. And that appreciation led me into, I feel like, the vibe where I was able to receive what Flora was talking about. And she also heavily focuses on appreciating what is, right? Appreciating even what's coming, right? And that, like, doing her formula, her self-concept academy every day, it was like something shifted internally in me, and I started to identify beyond my circumstance. Okay, I started to, I knew I am a goddess. I am successful. I am making money. I'm not doing Uber Eats anymore, regardless of what it looks like. And I persisted in that, and then everything just kind of took off from there. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I literally saw the shift in you. And like you said, it's not that your views increased. It's not that you got like all these followers. Because what did you have back then? Maybe 4,000 followers, around like what I've got,
maybe
or
even,
subscribers.
I want to say less, because I didn't, like, I had 1,000 subscribers, maybe two, for a long time. And it was around that time that my subscribers went from, like, I can't remember the exact number, but from whatever that was up to like 11,000 in a couple months.
Yeah.
So, mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I remember that. I remember because I saw the shift in you first,
mhm,
and I was like, okay, I like this, right? Like I'm loving this for you. And
mhm,
then I noticed, oh wow, because I would come back a couple of weeks later, and now you went from 3,000 to 5,000 subscribers or whatever it was, right? I'm like, wow, she's really getting at it, right? And it's interesting that you said that you saw this coach and at first didn't resonate and just kept scrolling past. There was a coach that started his channel, and I've talked about this in some of my videos when I first started back up. His name is Eric. He's with the Power of I Am, and he knows about my channel. He knows about everything. Um, and he didn't start his channel, I think, until May, and now he's got, gosh, 11,000, 15,000 subscribers.
wow,
And when I first saw him, I want to say, end of May, early June. And instantly when I saw him on my feed, I'm like, oh, he's one of them. Because if you go to his channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. He looks like a certain controversial person
mhm,
in our culture. And so I thought that it was more for men. I thought it was for, a certain type of man,
mhm,
and it wouldn't be for me, right? And then I would scroll past. I would scroll past. I even clicked the little three dots and said not interested or whatever it was, because I was like, no, I'm good. And I was watching people like you and some other channels, but it kept popping back up. I'm like, really? I said I wasn't interested, right? So I want to say I actually clicked on one of his videos in July. And then I was like, I was completely wrong. He's nothing like what I thought, right? And I did book coaching with him because I was struggling at the time with a particular SP that I had manifested out of nothing. And when he talked to me, he said, okay, what's your background? What's your knowledge on manifestation? And I told him, and he said, why are you coming to me? he said, he said, you've manifested what I like to call Christ consciousness level manifestations, such as going from homeless to six figures, manifesting curing my own cancer. Let's see, I've changed the weather. I've avoided natural disasters. Um, this is one that most people don't believe me on, but that's okay. It's an experience that I had, is that I had an uncle pass away. My mom told me he passed away. And then 2 years later, I'm in her home and he walks through the door.
mhm.
Because the last thought that I had is, oh man, I wish I had saw him one more time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Insane. So it's like I shifted to a reality where he hadn't passed yet. He did pass away after that, but and from the same cause. That's was crazy, but um he was there and I got to see him one last time.
Mm,
But and he said you could do all this, so why are you having problems with this SP? right?
wow.
But he coached me through it, and I've been fine since. Even with things not working out with that person, it didn't matter to me because it's like they don't resonate with who I am now. So it's okay. Right. And someone said that they had coaching with Eric too. Yeah, Eric's awesome. He's very blunt. My coaching style is very similar in that way. Where someone recently was telling me about a situation, I was like, why are you talking about yourself like that?
Mm,
Right. I'll ask them, I'm like, why? I'll be annoying and just ask them why until they tell me. And then it's like they realize it themselves, because you don't really need coaching because you are it. Everyone is it. But yeah, same situation. I kept scrolling past them, and then I was like, oh, okay, let's check them out.
yeah, I love that. I love that. And you know what's interesting is I feel like I feel like what we're deciding is causing what other people decide, right? So even like, okay, let's say for instance, like, Alchemistic saying, okay, I want to come on your channel, right? I want to come do a live with you. And but Alchemistic's a surety, right? Because I'm sure I don't have to know or ask her. She knew I would say yes, right? Versus, and that made me, when I went to her channel and went to her page, be like, ooh, yeah, immediately, right? For someone else, it may be like, I don't know if she's gonna want to. I don't know if she's gonna like it. I don't know. And that's what I would feel, right? When I look like, ooh, I don't know about this, right? So your decision, like, Alchemistic doesn't have to say, Olivia, like, she doesn't have to make me do it, right? She doesn't have to force me to do it. She decides, and her decision influences my decision. Okay. That's how it works with people. I also love how your coach checks you like that. Like, wait, why are you, why are you giving this thing, this person power, right? And not, when you can do all of these things, you guys. This is the thing that I feel like I realized more recently, deeper, is that we can do all of these things, right? I feel like changing the weather is actually an easy thing to do. I feel like you guys should do it because it's something that's very easy to create, but it's something that we collectively agree that we can't do that, right? I mean, the weather is just kind of happening. Or there are some people who believe that the weather is controlled, but they believe it's controlled by the government, right? So when you decide on a clear sunny day, it's going to rain, and it rains, right? And you decide on a rainy day, it's gonna be. I've manifested the weather to where I was specific. It's gonna be about 80 degrees with an overcast because I was going to I was going to Six Flags and I didn't want to be in the sun, right? So when you realize, wait a minute, I'm controlling the earth, I'm controlling the weather, and I think that this person, this money, this circumstance is above me, y'all. You see what I'm saying? So it really is that. And it's funny, I've been thinking about this with coaching, and I'm curious about your opinion on this, Alchemistic, because there's like a sort of like a I don't know, like some people can be like, oh, coaching is bad, or coaching is like, people can feel a way about coaches. Why are you charging for information that's free, right? Why do I have to pay you to tell me something that's in a book, right? Well, my opinion on that is, number one, the information is free if you can understand it, right? If you can interpret it, if you can read what Neville is saying and that makes sense to you and you can successfully apply it in your life, then you don't need coaching. But if you're watching the videos, if you're reading Neville and it doesn't make sense, if you're trying and trying and you don't, you can't do it, right? And you have the means to afford a coach, right? Because I believe that, honestly, you guys, coaching is a luxury. To have someone come into your life and give of their time and energy to help you manifest something, realize that both me and Alchemistic have been learning and practicing and doing this for over 10 years. That's 10 years of experience that got us to the consciousness and understanding that we have now, right? So if you don't want, and it's not to say that it takes anybody 10 years, or I'm not putting a timetable on anything, but it's really about you collapsing that time, collapsing the amount of bumping your head up against the wall. A lot of the things that I come and cover for you guys in a 10 and 15-minute video took me years to get to understand. And when I get the understanding, then I'm able to put it to you guys. Oh, you guys, I've been running into this wall for 10 months and I realized this is the way to go. And I'm telling you that way. So for me, it's more like when people are like, why would you pay someone for coaching if it's all free? Why do coaches charge, right? Edward Art Supply dropped his book the other day and people were mad. He's charging $9 for his book. They were mad. They're like, why should he get to charge for his book? Because it took him time and effort and energy to write it, right? It's something that's going to prosper. I guarantee anybody that buys that book is going to get more than $9 worth of information from that. But it's kind of, to me, like going to a bakery and saying, why would I pay you to bake me a cake? Right? I could go get some Betty Crocker and do that myself. But if you want a beautiful, luxurious, professional cake by someone who does this for a living, then yeah, you're going to pay more than $3.99 off the shelf. And if you don't want to pay that, you can go get the $3.99 off the shelf and do it and have you a lopsided, ugly ass cake. Okay. But I'm curious what you think about that, alchemistic.
So it's interesting because I feel like everything in our reality is created by us. Even
Mhm.
people say that $9 is too much to charge for a book, right? I recently made an ebook about my 5 top manifestation methods. And it's like you don't even need that because you are the method, you are the technique. But if you want the information, here it is, right? And I originally was going to charge $11.11 for it because of the time that I put into it, the graphics that I made, everything, right? But then I said, you know what, for the holidays, I'll put it at $7.77. I have not had one person complain about my price. Not one. And why? Because I priced it at that so that way it's accessible to anyone. Who doesn't have $8, right? Let's say $8, right? Who doesn't have $8? You know, that you can't even get a meal at McDonald's for $8 an hour, right?
Right.
So it's like, who doesn't have $8? So, you know, at first I thought, let me make this free for people, but I'm like, no, I put my time in this. I did this, so I'm worth at least that much, right? For that. But I put that there for the people that can't afford to book, say, a coaching call with me, that can't afford to pay for I have a texting membership as well, that's selling like crazy. And I started that because of Eric. So I want to talk about that is when I booked with Eric, I first booked a 15-minute call, right? And I was like, you know what? I like this because all it is it's reminding you of what you are.
Yes.
And no matter what coach it is, I had over 20 years of experience. Eric himself talks about that he went to a couple of coaches on his channel. I don't know if he still does, but he did, right? If there is a coach out there that says that they don't go to other people sometimes, that they don't falter, that they don't, sometimes go against themselves, I'd be right off of their channel. Because there's no way, we're human. This is the human experience.
Yes.
So with the thing about people talking about prices and all this stuff, I haven't experienced that.
Mhm.
I have not had one person tell me that my prices are too high. Quite the contrary, I've had people tell me I'm charging too little
Mhm.
for what I provide.
Mhm.
I have a couple of clients that have spent thousands of dollars on coaching from other coaches. And this is one of my assumptions as well, is that the people that come to me are versed in manifestation laws, law of assumption. They've been to other coaches, they've spent a lot of money, but those people don't click with them like I do, right?
Yes.
And I have one that did my texting service, and they told me, I'm already resonating with you, and we haven't even had a conversation yet. This was just in DMs, and they were asking me about my services, right? And they said, I already feel it. I already feel better, and I haven't even had any coaching from you. And they told me that, yeah, they've spent thousands of dollars, on high ticket coaching, and they did not feel that they got what they got with me within one texting session.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm trying to say is that the money doesn't matter because the right clients will come to you. And I have a video on this, but with Eric, I did his texting service because I was like, yeah, I'm resonating with this. I like this guy, right? I like his energy. So I did the texting service. And I did it for a month. It was around $500. And I set the intention as I was purchasing it that it doesn't matter because I'm going to get this back tenfold, right?
Yes.
Again, I left my corporate job in the summer. I booked with him, I think it was August, September, right? And a week later, I got a check in the mail for over $5,000 from a settlement that I forgot I was even a part of. That was from 2 years ago. So when I tell you money doesn't matter, and the thing is you have to also give to receive, and that's my mindset. is the more I give out, the more that I receive. Not just money, but energetically. So helping people. And the thing is you said that people were talking about, oh, I could get this for free. Sure, watch our videos, get it for free.
Right. Right.
Your videos are like so detailed and you give so much that it's like, okay, well, then just get it for free. Watch my content. Give me more watch time, give me more views. That's fine.
Right.
Right? It's like, that's fine too. You do not need to pay for services. Like you said, it's a luxury.
Yes.
If you feel that paying for the service is going to better you, then do it. If you want just the free content, watch the free content. So, I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet, and I don't think I will because of my mindset. I have not had one person tell me, "Oh, you charge too much." I had someone tell me I don't charge enough.
Hmm.
Two people actually.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I 100% agree, you guys. On everything that she just said, because to be honest, you guys, there's no this information is invaluable. Even if this information of the law of assumption was only used for money, if you could only use the law of assumption for money, it's invaluable. If you realize and can understand that all the money I'll ever need is here and in my decision, you can't there's that's your golden goose. That's your golden goose. But if so that but it's not just that though, right? It doesn't just add on to you monetarily. It add on to your health, your happiness, your friends, your family, every person that you can think of. Your entire reality is completely transformed from the understanding of this information. So if you don't have the money, you have the time. And this is what I say, go to my playlist, right? Go to my playlist. I have all the topics laid out, dealing with 3D, SP, money, manifest fast, this, that. So you can go and see and figure out literally probably at least 20, 30, 40 videos in each playlist for exactly what you need to know. But if you want to have that happen very quickly, if you want me to just tell you exactly what to do in your situation, then yes, it does cost and it is invaluable. I've had my clients tell me the same thing. They're like, "Why are you charging? Why are you charging this?" I had someone tell me in my group program, she was like, I've paid more for group coaching where I didn't even get to talk to the coach than what you charge for this. And I got way more. I have one of my clients now, she's like, I've paid 2 years for coaching and I never got any results. And I got results the first session with you. So, and I think something between Alchemistic and I that I can really feel in both of our energies is the true desire to help. It's the true desire to help. It's not just about, all right, let me get this money for this hour. It's the true intention that I want to prosper you. I want you to walk away. I really love what Alchemistic said earlier when she said, I want you to get it and not come back to me. Right?
I said that when I did tarot too, and people thought I was crazy because what tarot reader says that? What
Right.
tarot reader says I don't want to see you again? Right? I used to say that. They would book a reading with me. I would do their reading and I'm like, if you like this reading, cool, stay within your current mindset. If you don't, this is what you need to do. Right? And I would go into what they needed to focus on, going within self, self-love, right? All of these things. And I'm like, and I don't expect to see you again. They're like, what? I'm like, I don't want to see you again. And I'm like, because that's confirmation that what I gave you was teaching you how to fish, not giving you the fish.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. That is so real. That is what any coach or any video you guys should be giving you. No one should be promoting dependency on them. Like you need them, right? You don't, y'all. Both me and Alchemistic are coaches telling you you don't need us because you don't have to have a business or a practice from need. Guess what? There are people that just want to, right? Right now, I'm in coaching. I have a coach right now. I waited because I wanted someone. who I really felt like could take me to the next level. And of course, that person appeared. And I have been like y'all. I mean, I've been in it for maybe what, maybe about 2 months now. And the shifts within me have been like, I'm like, yo, I would say, and for me, to be honest, you guys, when I've ever hired coaches in the past or worked with someone, I never even thought about what does this cost. It was more like, I know whatever I'm getting is going to be invaluable. So whatever it costs, that's what I'm going to pay. Like that's whatever that's what I'm going to do. And it's
If
not
it's a
because I'm
thousand, you're going to get $10,000 from it. Just know that.
exactly. And I owe it like just, and I love also, I won't like, I won't say that everybody needs help or some, I don't want to say needs help, but everybody can benefit from having someone from a higher state of consciousness pull you up and remind you, like Alchemistic said, remind you, hey, you're this too. Cause that's it, right? That's it. Hey, you're this too. Remember, even in this circumstance, like Alchemistic was saying earlier with her, when she went to Eric and he was like, dude, you've done this. He's like, no, sometimes you need somebody to say and shake you. Yo, you're this in that circumstance as well, right? You're this in that circumstance as well. So I love that. And I feel like I guess we're coming towards the end, although this went so fast. But I would love to hear like your top 3 pieces of advice, Alchemistic, for manifestation. And before we even get into that, please tell us more about you healing your cancer. That is incredible. Please tell us more about that.
I have a full video about that on my channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that you watched that one.
Mm-hmm.
Is and the thing is, and we can table this for after I go over it, but I did want to ask you because you said that you went to my page, which I expected you to,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to make sure that you resonated with me. I want to know what exactly you resonated with. Um, and yeah, it was my assumption that me not showing my face, me not showing my identity doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That my voice is all that matters. My message is all that matters, right? Because everyone watching this, I am just you. I am you. I'm you talking to you. I'm telling you the things that you already know. That's all a coach does. But so you talked about the cancer. It was after I had my son that I was diagnosed. And I remember the doctor was all worried about telling me the news because I forgot what stage it was. See, this is how much you rewrite everything, that you forget things. But because that's almost 20 years ago. He'll be 20 in March. And without the mask, you know what I look like because of, you know, emails and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
um that's another assumption of mine, is that I always look 25.
I
I'm
was
pushing
just thinking
40.
that. I was like, your son is 20? I was like, was this like 2? I'm thinking your kid's a baby. I'm like, oh, she had a baby. Like, oh, okay. Like, that's 20 years. I'm like, are you're 20? How's that?
Everywhere I go, people don't believe me. They're like, you must have Botox. It's like, nope. I can move my face.
I
No
love that.
Botox, no fillers. Literally, it's my assumption that I always look and feel 25. I lost
I
weight
love
that
it.
way. I was obese last year.
Wow.
And I lost 65 pounds just off of an assumption. I eat whatever I want. Girl, I got Dunkin' today. And I still weigh the same. I still weigh 130 pounds. And I'm only 5'1". So keep that in mind when I say 130 pounds, okay? But um going back to that, is that the doctor was scared to tell me, right? He came in all scared, and I was like, just shoot me straight, doctor. What's going on? And he said, well, you know, you've got this cancer, and we're going to have to do this, and we're going to have to do that. And, you know, and I looked at him and I said, I got this newborn baby to take care of. I ain't got time for this. And I said, it's going to take one treatment. When are we booking that? He said, you need to be realistic. I was like, I am. Watch, it's going to take one treatment. I was like, when are we booking it? So he booked it. And then between then and that appointment, in my mind, went into, and I didn't even know I was meditating at the time, but I was. I went into a meditative state and I visualized these cells flushing out of my system. Anytime that I would sweat, like work out and sweat, anytime I would go to the restroom, anytime I would take a bath, I would visualize it coming out of my pores and going down the drain, right? Just nonstop. This is what I was doing. And the other thing I did, very important, is I had fun. I spent time with friends. I spent time with family. I laughed. I carried on. No one knew about my diagnosis. No one. My doctor, me, and my mom. That was it. I went to my treatment. I had my treatment, and then I went to the follow up, the biopsy to see where I was at after that. The doctor came in, jaw on the floor, and he said, I must have made a mistake because there's no more cancer. So they took it off of my record. But I think it was like stage 3. It was advanced because he said we would have to do all these treatments. If this doesn't work, we're going to need to do surgery, like all these things. And they were even talking about chemo. I never went through chemo. But yeah, one treatment. And he said, we need to keep an eye on you. We need to test you twice a year. I said, that's fine. Over 20 years, I've had one scare since where abnormal cells showed up. And I said, no. I said, they're gone. They're flushing out of my system. I did the same thing. Went in for a deeper biopsy. They're like, oh, we made a mistake. And everyone tells me, you're in remission. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm cured. You're in remission. No, no, I'm not. And this is what Eric talks about on his channel. And I don't want to use like his terminology with my stuff, but he won't care. He talks about deny, choose, be. Deny the current circumstances. Choose your desire. Choose what your new reality is, and then become it. What did I do? I denied the cancer diagnosis. I chose that I was healthy, and I became healthy. That's it. It's that easy.
I love that. Like, what? Alchemistic. That's like one of the best healing stories I've ever heard. That is so dope. Like, I'm curious to know how in the moment when he came in the office and told you that, what was your frame of mind that allowed you to just confidently not even go home and be like, damn, let me cry about this, okay, let me get myself back up, but like immediately like, nah, so like it's gonna be fine. Like, how, like, what was the state of mind that you were in, like, to be able to show up as your God self in that moment of fear and pressing dire circumstances, right?
Well, I think it also came from being a mother, if I'm quite
Mm,
honest.
yes.
Um, so I went through a lot of trauma, and I don't want to trigger anyone that's watching this, but I went through a lot of trauma in my childhood that caused my body to develop incorrectly. Okay.
Mm,
And so I was told I would never have kids. I
mm,
had multiple miscarriages before and after him. But when I got pregnant with my son, I was like, I'm pregnant. I knew. I knew I was pregnant. And I was smoking cigarettes at the time, and I threw my pack of cigarettes away because I knew I was pregnant. What is that in the Bible? Digging the ditches
mm.
to allow the water to come in, right?
Yes,
Forget the exact story, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
And so I threw the pack of cigarettes away because I was like, no, that's going to hurt my baby. I didn't drink. I started eating healthy, right? I was digging the ditches. 3 months later, a month later, I found out I was pregnant. And then his father at times said, yeah, but I don't want you to get upset if you miscarry again. I'm like, it's not going to. I carried my son full term. He was preemie size, and the doctor said it's like a goldfish. It can only grow as big as the tank, right? So he was preemie size, but he was full term. He's healthy. He's an amazing young man now. Anyone that he chooses as a partner is the luckiest person in the world. Um, but That's what it was, is that I went from, so when I said I died at 13, I committed suicide.
Mm.
And so I didn't want to trigger anyone, but I did. And I woke up being willed to the morgue with a sheet over my head. I have a video talking about ego death, and I talk about it in that. But once I was pregnant with my son, I no longer had suicidal thoughts.
Mm.
So I know that he was my savior, right? My son is my savior. Kind of like Jesus, son of God, right? And so he was in his carrier right beside me when I got the diagnosis. And that's why I looked at the doctor. I said, I don't have time for this. Look, I have this human to take care of, right? All he's got is me. So it doesn't matter what your conviction is or what your why is for your desire. If you want to be a millionaire, cool. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Because it's not just the money. There's always a reason why, right? Why? I wanted the cancer gone because I need to take care of him. I don't have time for this. Who's got time to be on chemo and be weak when you got a newborn to take care of? Right? No, we ain't doing that. So I think that's what it was, is it's the conviction that I have this child to take care of. I was blessed with him because I was told I would never have kids. So I knew that God, universe, whatever was out there was going to make sure I could take care of him. And I have another story also where like he disappeared and then I found him in a miraculous way. There's so many stories around him with manifestation. 100%.
Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. I I really love that because I feel like our why is what forces us into our power, into recognizing and exercising our power, right? Because that is just amazing. I'm stunned, right? I'm stunned. So
Because like you said, you wanted to start this to help people.
right.
That's your why.
Yeah,
You can't help people if no one's watching your videos.
right.
You can't help people unless people are paying to book with you, right? So it's kind of like someone came to me and said that they wanted to be a coach and they want to be a millionaire. Why? Why do you want to be a millionaire? That's the first question I asked. Because I want to start all these organizations. Great. What are those organizations going to do? See you dig and dig and dig and dig. What is the why?
Yeah.
And then focus on that.
I love that. That is like one of the most incredible miraculous stories of healing that I've ever heard. And I love that. The why being so powerful, right? So it's interesting because for me, my why actually became my parents. A lot of things happened simultaneously at my awakening. Um, like I said, my dad got really sick to where he couldn't work. And my parents, for the first time in my life, I was witnessing them struggle and not have what they need. Also, my godson and my niece were both born 1 year after the other, and both of their dads were not present in their lives. And I watched both of their moms struggling. And at that moment, I felt like it's up to me. I'm the one that knows all this manifestation stuff. I'm the one that knows how to create my reality. My parents have sacrificed and worked so hard to give us a beautiful life. It's my turn. I'm not going to allow these kids to grow up in need, going without what they need because of adults that can't take care of their responsibilities. I want to do that for them. And that became like, y'all, listen, if my parents had never gone through that, right? And all those because I told you guys in my other stories that for me, my broke ass experience as a young adult was really my sensei, right? My jacket on, jacket off, right? That was my lesson of no matter the circumstance, you can change it. right? But I wouldn't have been in that circumstance. If my parents were still fine, my dad was so loving and giving, anything I needed, he would have just gave it to me. I would have been fine, right? I was actually supposed to move here to Florida with my parents. Had I moved to Florida with my parents, probably wouldn't have been going through that. I decided to stay at the last minute and move in with my toxic ex that I was living with at the time. And that started me into boot camp of life, of survival, of manifesting my reality. So your whys, it's all around you. And sometimes y'all, a lot of y'all here watching this, your why is a struggle. Okay? You don't want to be in pain anymore. You don't want to be broke anymore. You want to give your kids a better experience than you have been able to. And so this is the thing, y'all, because a lot of people come to me and they say, damn, well, when my situation is like this, well, how can I do that? Right? Think about that. Alchemistic had a newborn and a cancer diagnosis at the same damn time, y'all. That's enough to make you say, damn, I mean, ain't nothing I can do about that. Time to cry, time to ball up in a corner, right? But she instead chose, I'm gonna rise to the occasion for my son. I'm not gonna ball up like a bitch, right? I'm gonna I'm gonna stand up like a goddess. Okay? I'm not gonna let my life fall off and let whatever happened to him happen to him. I'm gonna use him instead of as my excuse to lose, right? She's gonna use it as her excuse to win, as her reason to win. So all of y'all in your circumstance that you think is bigger than you right now, that well, this is like this, well, it's like that. What am I gonna do? Get out of the victim state. I feel like alchemistic saying right there in the doctor's office, y'all, shit, I'm a great manifester, but if I got diagnosed with cancer, I'll at least go cry a little bit. I'll at least go cry a little bit. She was like, yeah, whatever. What else is there? Okay. Like that's real. That's using your circumstance. You know what I'm saying? And saying, this will not be my story. This will not be my story. Period. You can use your circumstance to ball up or stand up. You can use your circumstance to crumble or to build yourself into something that you never even knew that you could be. Okay? And I feel like everything that Alchemistic has said, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but I can tell from listening to her that she hasn't even really gotten into all the other stuff that she had to really overcome. She's just telling us the little dabs, okay? If she can come through and be like that, y'all, you can do it. Okay? There's a quote I saw before, and it said someone took the same situation that you're complaining about and won with it. They won with it. Whatever it is that you got, y'all. I don't care if you on the street right now. You could take that and win with it. Okay? Alchemist is talking about being in her car. I was in my car, y'all, weeks before. No, when was that? No, it was a few months before when I moved into my apartment, and my apartment was infested with bugs, and I was so afraid I had to sleep in my car. The security is like, "What are you doing in here?" I'm like, I can't even sleep in the place that I literally just went broke getting myself into. I'm sleeping in my car. Okay? Your situation can change, y'all. It has changed. It's already changed, and you're the deciding factor. So I'm going to emphasize this again. Stop letting your circumstance be the reason you decide to ball up. Stop letting what's going on in front of you be the reason why you can't have what you want. Stop letting what's in front of you be the reason why you're not powerful. Instead, let it be the reason, let it be the catalyst, right? Let it be the catalyst of you actually revealing to yourself the power that you are, the power that I am. Okay? So, alchemistic, this has been incredible. I would say this farly exceeded my expectation. Oh, I want to answer your question because you said, what was it about your channel? It was your voice. It was your energy and your voice. Um, I because I didn't even finish your cancer story. I just clicked on it. I listened for a few seconds, few minutes, and I was like, yeah, it was like it was that it was like, yeah, because for me everything's a feeling. I can feel a yes or a no in a minute, right? And I can feel it was a wide open yes for you. So I'm curious, before we close out, and I would love to know what would be like your top 3 pieces of advice for anyone watching this live that wants to really change their life and manifest incredible, miraculous things like you have?
The biggest thing to keep in mind, the biggest piece of advice, and this is number one, and this is what all of the coaches that I actually resonate with say, is you are reality. Everything is you. I am you. Olivia is you. Those that are watching this, your version of reality, your world is dictated by you. You are not manifesting anything. You are not creating anything because creation is finished. So, what you're experiencing right now, no matter what the 3D is showing you, can shift like that. As soon as you decide, that's what happens. I've literally seen something change in front of my eyes, like a matrix glitch, right? I was going to grab something and it changed into something else in my hand. That's how powerful you are. You can literally shift it as soon as you can get your mind past this limitation, right? The limitation is an illusion. So literally your reality. If everybody in the chat when we were talking about the weather changes said, "Oh yeah, I did this. Oh yeah, I did that." If you can change it from rainy to sunny, if I could avoid a tornado hitting my house, if I could avoid a hurricane in Florida when I was going to go on vacation in September, I avoided Hurricane Milton. I'll do a video on that. Why can't you have whatever this thing is? Why can't you? That's the biggest piece of advice. And the other thing is stop focusing on your limits,
Yes.
right? There are people out there with no limbs. They have no arms, no legs, and they're living. They're doing things. You can't even fathom not having your hands, right? You have your hands in front of you. You can't fathom not having them. There's people without them, and they're still flourishing. They're still smiling. They're still laughing. One of the biggest inspirations, I forgot his name. I'm going to have to look it up. It was on America's Got Talent. I was watching it with my son. And he was doing all these different stunts, and he had no lower body. He had no legs, just all with his arms. And he came from a background similar to me, was in the foster system, was thrown away, told he'd never be anything. Now he's doing all these things, right? No matter what your situation is, I don't care if everyone told you you're never going to become anything. I don't care if you've gone through this and you've gone through that, right? I'm sure Olivia's gone through things. Everyone has gone through things. These things showed up in your reality to shift you into the person you're supposed to be. And it doesn't matter if you came from, you know, millions of dollars and then now you're not in that situation anymore. Or if you're like me, and it's funny you talked about the roach infestation because I grew up in that. So I can, and when you said that, I was like triggered. I was like, ugh, you know, like I would never want that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your background. And some people get actually more caught up in, well, I used to have money and now I don't. Okay, and you can have it again.
Yes.
So what? So what? And that's what I tell myself. I'm like, this situation, so what? And like living in my car. And I have a roof, I have shelter, I have food, right? I have the ability to go clean to get food. Right? It's like find your blessing. And that's of course the current reality, right? You can't change the current reality. You can only shift into a new one. So, yeah, I think I'm answering the question, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that. I love that. That's so real. And I love what you said about people not having hands and think like that was something else that in a meditation I would listen to. And he was talking about, just the things that we take for granted, y'all. Something like y'all don't even think about like your refrigerator. I don't know if anybody ever said thank you for my refrigerator. Let that thing go out though, and all your food spoil. I remember one night I was stranded at QT. My battery died, and this man helped me. The man that helped me, y'all, I don't know if his ribs were broken. He fell off a roof, and he said he walks all day and night to find work, to make money, to do little whatever he can do. And it's people who are fully formed, right, that won't even get a job, right? He said, you know, I have children. He said, I have daughters. I'm like, how are you walking? He said, I'm waiting on the insurance money. I fell off the roof doing work, but I got daughters at home. They can't wait. Okay. So he didn't sit there and say, but guys, and y'all, shit, when I tell y'all he was limping, he could see he was physically deformed from his accident, and he was still determined. He was walking, y'all. No car, no bike, walking from place to place to get what he had to get for his daughters. It's people who won't go get a job like application to take care of their kids. Okay. And to me, having broken ribs and falling off a roof is a damn good excuse to feel sorry for yourself. It's a damn good excuse to feel like, shit, I just can't do it right now. But for him, it wasn't. For him, making sure that his daughters had something to eat and a place to be was more. So when Alchemistic says stop focusing on your limit, y'all, I posted something on, by Rev Ike, I think yesterday, where he said, turn your attention away from the problem and put your attention on God. Okay. Turn your attention. I feel like that's something consistent with everything that Alchemistic has been saying and everything that she went through. Her attention was away from this circumstance. This is what it is. And it was on the possibility. It was on the fact that just because it's this doesn't mean it has to continue to be that. Okay. So I love that. I feel like for me, my top 3 things that I would say, should have been thinking about this, but I was too intrigued by Alchemistic and what she said. But is really know yourself as God, y'all. Really know yourself as God. That will solve all your problems today, literally. Stop trying to wait on something to prove that to you. Stop saying, "Oh, I'll know myself as God once I create my $1 million house with my pool slide." Right? You're God right now. You're God saying, "I'm God, but I'm going to wait." Why? Right? You decide right now. Number 1, I am God of this reality. Number 2, persist, y'all. Like, listen, persist, continue. It doesn't matter, right? So many people come to me and say, but Olivia, it's not working. It didn't work. Keep working it until it works. Keep learning, keep expanding, keep taking on higher and higher concepts of yourself. It will work. Okay? Y'all, do y'all know I've had this channel for 6 years? Okay? For 6 years. And for majority of those years, I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers. In all of those years, y'all, I could have been like, this ain't gonna work. It hasn't worked. It's been 5 years. It hasn't worked. And y'all, let me tell you, right before my channel popped off, I was there. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm about to delete this whole shit. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to listen to me. Forget it. Right? But I decided to continue. I decided to go on. And that's why we're all here right now. Okay? I said this in another live, or maybe it was a coaching session, but you're not gonna be mad, you guys. Those of you guys that been at it for a minute or whatever, it's taking longer than you want. You're not gonna get your thing and be like, oh man, it took so. You're gonna be ecstatic. So keep going. But I will tell you this: 10 years down the line, if you give up and you settle for a life that's not what you want, then you will be disappointed. You will be like, damn, bruh, what would have happened had I just continued? Right? It took me 6 years because I kept trying and quitting, trying and quitting, trying and going months without posting, right? Waiting on myself to get millions of followers to feel like I should post. Makes no sense. Okay?
Act
So,
as if now. Act
exactly.
as act as if you already have 1 million followers. It doesn't matter if you have 5.
Yes.
Act as if you have 1 million. See, and that's why I said, like, I don't care how many likes and stuff I get. Some of my videos only have 20 views. I don't care. Most of them have no comments. I don't care. Because I know people are watching me. Why? Because they're booking with me and said, I watched this video, I resonated with it. They didn't comment on it. I don't care. They don't need to. And that's the thing is, like, you're saying that, what was it that you said just a minute ago? Is you said, stop focusing on the lack, basically, right? Stop focusing on the lack. Focus on what you have in your life.
Yes.
That's one thing from law of attraction that makes sense, is be grateful for the current reality you are in. You cannot shift to a better reality if you are not appreciative of the reality that you are in right now. Because creation is already finished. If you have a desire for something, that means it already exists. It's just you shifting to that. So if you want something, start wanting it as much as you need to breathe. I think ET said that, right? Start wanting the thing that you want as much as you need to breathe, and go after it, and don't stop. As you said, to don't stop, but also I think your mindset shifted into, it doesn't matter because I'm going to do this and it's going to happen,
Yes.
right? It
Yes.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why does your circumstances matter? Because like you said, at the end, you're going to be mad at yourself that you quit. It's kind of like Tony Robbins said, you're going to be 80 years old in your rocker, like, why did I quit? Instead of 80 years old in your rocker saying, it took me 20 years, but look what I did.
Yes. 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 I love that. I love that so much. And this is the thing, you guys. We're not telling you that it takes 20 years. We're not telling you it takes 10. We're not telling you it takes 6. Alchemistic just said that she's had someone who's just gotten 10 to 15,000 subscribers in a few months, right? We're not saying that. What we're saying is continue. It doesn't matter how long it took. I don't care if it took you half a second or it took you half a year. Continue towards that thing if it matters to you, right? If it matters that much to you to have it. Yes, her all of Alchemistic's links are in thank you heaven are in the description, okay? So definitely follow. I mean, y'all see she's 100% on point, okay? So, but yes, you guys, continue. Like I told y'all, I made a promise to myself. And really that was the beginning of the shift. Was when I promised myself I'm no longer giving up. I'm no longer giving up. And it's not to say that you push yourself into a mental breakdown, but if you need a break, take a break. But I'm no longer giving up on myself and my dream, right? Someone up there in the comments said it doesn't matter if you have one subscriber, you're changing that one person's life. And I came into that awareness. I came into that awareness because sometimes I wasn't even getting 20 views, right? 20 views sometimes I'll be like, wow, I'm doing well. Like my best friend would be my only comment. She would be my only, she would be like, go best friend. This is great. And but I started to realize though, right? When I would get, because my average before my channel popped off was about like 100, maybe 100, maybe 2. If I got to 3, y'all, I was like, oh shit, like look at me. I got 300 views, right? And I started to realize though, but that's 100 people. What if it was 100? I started to take it from the numbers on the screen, y'all. What if it was 100 people in front of you, 50 people in front of you, 20 people in front of you, right? And what if even if out of that 50, 5 people changed their life, 5 people walked away encouraged, 5 people walked away uplifted, 5 people walked away and was able to encourage somebody else. You understand how just one person can affect and does affect the collective, right? And that I started to realize too, it's not about numbers, it's about the message. It's about that's what it started with. I did not start a YouTube channel because I was like, my goal is to get 100,000 subs or 1 million subs. I started a YouTube channel because I was like, I really want to share this information. I really want people to know that they have the power, regardless of anything, to change their life. That's and I had to remind myself of that. I frequently remind myself, what is the purpose? Because it's not about the numbers, you guys. It's about really touching y'all's heart the way that this did. I can tell y'all, listening to Alchemistic touched my heart today, inspired me to be better and to be deeper into my God state. And it is also a reflection of what I feel like the shift in my consciousness, right? To hear someone say,
I also told him, I said, these cancer cells aren't paying rent. They need to get out. I was literally joking the entire time. And he didn't know how to take it. And that's the
like,
thing.
ain't shit free, doc.
We're doing an eviction right now. So, and that's what I'm telling you is, you guys notice that me and Olivia are laughing. We're having fun. Find your joy. And no matter what your desire is, find your joy. Because if you find your joy, it's going to happen. Like, just have fun. Have fun with it. I literally, like I said, aside from going and visualizing the cells going out of my body, I had fun. No one knew I was diagnosed. No one. Because I didn't feed it. So I'm going to do a video on this, on the two wolves. It's the story of the two wolves. I was a foster kid, and so some of my family are Native Americans, and they're the ones that told me this story. Which wolf are you feeding? You can look it up. The two wolves story. Which wolf are you feeding? Right? You can only feed one wolf at a time. You can't feed both. So are you feeding the wolf of, oh no, I have cancer, my life is over. What's going to happen to my son? I'm going to go through all the chemo. Or are you feeding the wolf that, oh, this doesn't matter because it's gone. We're evicting these cancer cells. They're gone. Bye. You got your eviction notice. Get out. Right? And have fun with it. No one knew. I was out having fun, laughing.
Yeah.
Act as if it's already gone. Act as if.
I love that, Alchemistic. I have to highlight that because the wolf story, I also know that story. And I always I feel like I reference that in different ways. Sometimes I talk about it like a cup or like a juicer or however, but that is the point, y'all. Sometimes you'll see the wolf of the old story and say, "Look how big and bad he is though. He's growling at me. I have to feed him." No, you don't. Just because the wolf is big and bad, just because it's scary, and y'all, a cancer diagnosis with a newborn son is scary as fuck, okay? That doesn't She could have decided this is too scary. That wolf is growling in my face. He's drooling. I got to feed him. I got to prepare. I got to send a group text. Everybody, I'm sick. Feel bad for me, right? But she decided no, that wolf can do all that big talking, and I'm putting my attention on the wolf that is healthy and gets to live and raise her son. And that wolf is the wolf who wins, right? Everybody wants to know which wolf wins, right? Which wolf wins the battle? Which circumstance is going to happen for me? The old story or the new story? The story that you feed. The story that you feed. And it doesn't matter how big and bad your wolf is, it's never an excuse to feed it. Period. That's the thing, y'all. It's
Let that
never
wolf
an
starve.
excuse. Let him starve. There's no reason. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to acknowledge it. Okay? It's interesting because when I had someone really close to me that also just manifested away cancer. And she's someone that I really love and care about. And when she told me about it, I instantly just denied that. It couldn't live here. She would tell me about this and that. You could see it on her, but I wouldn't let it be here. I will let my eyes perceive it, but I wouldn't believe it. I'm not trying to rhyme, but I would let my eyes perceive it. I would see her. I would hear her saying these things, but I did in my mind. She doesn't. She can't. I also didn't tell anybody, right? I didn't tell people, oh, my friend, she has cancer. Oh, nope, because she doesn't. Not in my reality. She doesn't have that. It gets no airtime. And this is the thing, you guys, once again, because when it comes to dire situations, we feel like, well, it's a dire situation. I have to give my attention to it. All you're doing is feeding it and blowing it up. You don't have to do shit, right? But if you want what you want, if you want to come through the situation, if you want to shift the reality, right, then you do have to give attention to something else, period. And keep feeding the wolf that you want to experience in your 3D, regardless of anything. Keep feeding that. Nothing is impossible to y'all. And I feel like Alchemistic's beautiful, incredible, miraculous stories today really prove that. Um, so I feel about complete. I want to know if you have any parting words that you just want to leave with everybody, Alchemistic.
I think you said it beautifully. There's nothing that's impossible. Not one thing is impossible. You saw your friend is cured and happy, and now she is, right? Because literally everyone in your reality is you. So you shifted to a reality where she is now healthy. You can do this for family members. If you have a family member that's sick, I had a cousin that had cancer. She no longer has cancer. She's healthy. And it's funny because she used to have straight hair, And now her hair is curlier than mine. Mine's wavy, but like hers is like ringlets now. And it's so funny because she's like, I always wanted curly hair and now I got it. Right? So it's, you can see them as that. There's nothing impossible. Not one thing. You could message me or Olivia right now and say, oh, this is impossible. No, it's not. Not one thing. I don't care what you tell me. It's not impossible. Not one thing is impossible because, like she said, you are God, right? You are God. You are the I am. You are reality. You are the universe. You are higher self. I don't care what you label it. You could say it's a cow. Yeah, I'm a cow. I create the reality. Okay, cool. Right? You create it. So whatever you say and whatever is in here, right? That's what reflects. Stop trying to change the mirror. Why are you going on the mirror and putting lipstick on the mirror? Put the lipstick on yourself. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes. I love that. Wow. Well, this has been incredible, you guys. This has been super amazing. Alchemistic, I really want to thank you for coming on here and sharing everything that you shared. Um, it was life changing for sure. For I feel like everyone who gets the pleasure to be able to watch this. So thank you so much. And congratulations, and I admire you for your immense power and your, well, we all have the immense power, right? But it's one thing to have it and it's another thing to demonstrate it, and I feel like you've been demonstrating it beautifully and incredibly. All of her links are in the description. You guys hit her up if you got, like, subscribe to all her stuff, follow her, get coaching with her, whatever you need to do. Y'all see she has the sauce. Okay, y'all are the sauce, we are all the sauce. All right. We love you all infinitely. Thank you, all my mods. You guys did incredible. I appreciate you all so much. Actually, mods, I kind of want to talk to y'all about. I guess I won't do it right now. I'll come on the live another day. But anyways, thank you to everyone here that came, and just sending you all infinite love and intending that this prospers you immensely. And I know that it has. And we will see you guys probably, hopefully, we can do this again sometime and see you guys in another video.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I know that they were requesting that, so just let me know.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Great. All right, you guys. See y'all later. Bye.